I'm pulling this back, okay? That's the major key feel. Probably not be static and then snatch it away, would you? And this is momentum, this is energy. We gather the speed, we collect the speed, you know, the weight of the club, and then we release it, tossing the club as far as we can and high as we can over there. Do you want a bit more power that takes less effort? I think there's a chance you do. Well, it's not about hitting the ball harder or faster, at least effort-wise, okay? You can't force these things to happen. But with just these couple of feels on your backswing, I pretty much guarantee you will be getting more distance, more velocity and compression with every single club in the bag. And of course, it's simple. There's one drill and one feel that I know every single one of you can apply and enjoy the results, okay? Let's find out how. Okay, so what are we talking about today? More speed, more power. You might be hearing a lot about making hard rotations, or you've got to clear the body out the way. You've got to do a lot of different things. But what I am addressing here is the tendency of being too narrow and trying to muscle the golf ball. What do I mean by that? It looks something like this. It is when we are, you know, just a little bit too cramped, we're a little bit too close to the golf ball, and we're like here. We're trying to keep the elbows tucked in. You know, you might have read something like, I've got to keep the arms locked in and I've got to keep them tucked. So what you'll end up doing is being so restricted here, okay, very little turn. And then you think, well, I've read about opening my hips. So you turn your hips, but you're still trapped and stuck here. And all that can happen really from this sort of position is sort of hitting at the ball down and choppy. And then you think, okay, I need to get more distance, so I need to, you know, hit it harder. And we can end up looking a little bit like this, okay? So we're keeping those arms locked in, keeping them dead straight. Even if you've got a good setup, we've got to keep everything sort of elbows tucked in, locked in straight, elbow pits up, okay? All relatively good things, but within a spectrum, okay? So if we keep everything tight and then I try and muscle it, okay, that's me trying to get as much sort of speed out of that sort of pterodactyl type of swing. Go on, tell me below. Does that feel, resonate, look a little bit like your golf swing, where you're trying to stay connected, where you're trying to stay locked in, and you're trying to muscle the golf ball to try and get more speed, and you're trying to get those big rotations, and the results are often a bit disappointing? Is that sounding a little bit familiar? If so, keep watching, because this is going to help you a lot. I'm going to demonstrate this with a head cover actually, okay? What I want you to do is actually just take your grip, right? Take your regular grip. But obviously we're not going to squeeze it as tight, right? But we're taking a decent firm grip. And the feeling I want you to have is that as you swing the club back, even just on a takeaway and on that backswing, I want you to feel that your trail hand is actually pulling the left hand away. And it's like all I'm doing with my left arm here is sort of holding on, if you will, right? I'm just sort of holding on. This is doing the pulling. I'm pulling that way with my lower fingers in my hand here, not so much the thumb and forefinger, but I'm having this sensation where I'm pulling this back, okay? That's the major key feel that we're after here, all right? I don't want you to worry too much right now about what the lower body's doing. We're gonna get that into that in a second, all right? But we want the sort of core to rotate. We don't want it just to be the arms where this is static, but just allow it to feel relatively natural, okay? So pull back. And that feeling here, what you'll notice is I haven't told you to straighten the right arm or anything. I haven't told you to keep that dead straight. I haven't told you to lock the arms in. But by doing this, we are having width in this golf swing, all right? I'm getting a width that is so strain-free and natural. And all it is that feeling of pulling the lead hand, my left hand, back, all right? And then from there, I am sort of just ready and prepared to make my little transition back this way towards the target to get the strike that I want. By doing that, it gives me that sort of whipping action, that snapping action. And I'll show you with the towel what that looks like. Okay, now just to emphasize with the towel, I'm going to do the same sort of feel like I'm pulling the lead arm back, right? But we're doing it to get ourselves into this position, this placement, so I can make a transition back. And it's going to look a little something like this. And this is where the towel comes in. I'm still going to feel like I'm pulling with the right hand, okay? So I'm pulling with the right hand and then I transition back. There, okay? There. It's a wonderful feeling to get this width and that sort of delay and all the time in the world. And that's what we're trying to emphasize here. There, okay? It gives you a nice, I don't like using the term lag because we're just shifting, right? It's just a natural shift as if you were throwing the ball. You wouldn't throw the ball like this. You wouldn't be like a pterodactyl trying to clamp everything in, trying to rotate round, okay? You just wouldn't do that naturally. So don't try and do it in your golf swing. And now the next step is to take your golf club, okay? Take your golf club and you're just gonna have the same sensation as you swing back like you are pulling this trail side with the right side here, okay? We're just pulling that back and it's gonna give you a nice width and ability to transition there. And that's what we're working on. It's that feel here, okay? Very effortless. It's giving a nice flow to your golf swing. Got one more little point for you to feel here, okay? And think about. If you've got the club in your hand, brilliant. Or even just the towel, the head cover, whatever. I want you to sort of stand there and think, okay, here's my address position. And if I was to give you $100, £100, whatever you wanted, for every yard you could throw something this way, that way, okay? So as we get to the top of the backswing, we're almost like tossing the club as far as we can and high as we can over there, all right? Just think about that for a moment and even do a rehearsal with or without a club. How would you begin that task, okay? Doesn't mean you throw it quickly. It means that you would sling it back, and you would not, or you would struggle a lot if you were to stand there and stay very static. If you were to stand very static and try and throw the club that way, the swing would look very snatchy. It wouldn't be in sequence, it wouldn't be natural. So it's going to be very difficult to repeat. And that's where the idea of having a little bit of momentum, if I was to toss this club that way, I would sort of start ideally a little bit sort of here, okay, to gather that momentum with my lower body pulling it back up here. So it's there, right? So I'm using my lower body and pulling with my right hand here to get that width to throw the club that way, okay? That's what I would do. Whether you can practice it and throw some or not, but just realize that you would probably not be static and then snatch it away, would you? And this is momentum, this is energy. We gather the speed, we collect the speed, you know, the weight of the club, and then we release it again. And that's where an effortless, powerful golf swing happens, okay? You work on those things just a little bit. We've only touched on it a bit here, but work on that feeling. My friend Andreas Carley, who's helps me with my golf swing a lot, and he's been a wonderful coach to me, but that sensation, you know, as I've been working on this, I was like, this is really helping a lot of people, because we've got that width, we've got the smoothness, and we've got the gathering to be able to come back down into the ball. So try it. Feel like you're pulling the trail hand, and even try it without a club. Just feel like you're pulling the left thumb, okay? Do that with momentum and you should be good to go. So after you've worked on that just a little bit to really emphasize that feeling like the left thumb is being pulled up this way, okay? It's going to give you more freedom, and hopefully, even if you haven't hit balls for a while or whatever it might be, hopefully you can get some good results. All right, so let's put it in action. Let's start the swing with a little bit of momentum here, okay? And I'm going to feel like I'm going to heave the club. I'm going to heave the club that way. Second swing of the day. Not too bad at all. Use the width with natural flow, okay? Get the momentum to help you and feel like you're gaining width to maintain it, but don't lock those arms in. Don't keep forceful with the arms and tight. Have suppleness. Use the weight of the club, but keep the width, all right? I hope that helped you. Let me know if it did. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And there is a free series that will introduce you to some lessons that we have inside the Art of Simple Golf Club, where we've got so many members who are transforming their games with the constructive, succinct series within there. So, see you next time.